working.
I'll mute you, Rory. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait one more minute and then we can get started. All right, I'm not sure why my camera's not on here, but that is okay. I'm not the important one here. Keely, can you let me know if it is recording so we can get going for folks that would like us to record on that end? Perfect. Okay, thanks everybody for joining. Please mute your microphones if you can. Turn off your camera to make it easy for recording. We'll take some questions at the end. Please raise your hand and I'll help moderate the questions if you have any. Go ahead and unmute at that point when I call you your name or your agency, and you can ask your question or questions. We do have a spokesperson here from the highways as well, I believe, and we can also defer to them for calls as well. So what we will get started with is Keely Grasser. The last name is Grasser. First name is Keely. She's going to provide an update today. Carolyn Nadeau, Caroline, capital Nadeau, is here also for any questions in French, if there are any. Both of them can be referred to as RCMP spokespersons. So we'll get started with Keely. I'm going to spotlight Keely for everybody. And Keely, we'll get started if you can give us a little rundown of what we're seeing out on the roads for the RCMP today.
Absolutely. So as you're all aware, road conditions are poor across a wide swath of central and southern Saskatchewan today, and our police officers have been very busy responding to calls for service. We just got some statistics from our divisional operation report that between midnight and 2 o'clock today, they responded to about 29 weather-related calls for service. And these calls generally include things like collision, vehicles in the ditch, or road hazards. This total is preliminary, and it might include duplicates, so it might change over time. And I don't have regional breakdowns available at this time, nor details for all those incidents. But what I can tell you is that they've indicated that many of them involve semis or inclines. Right now, and this is just unfolding, Broadview RCMP is responding to a serious collision. That's on Highway 1 near Highway 201. I don't have all the details at this time, but please know that motorists can expect delays and possibly lane closures in that area. I also have heard that Swift Current, White Butte, and Moose Jaw RCMP are also responding to multiple weather-related calls for service. I appreciate your patience and not having localized numbers. Our officers are really busy on the roads. A lot of the precipitation so far has fallen as freezing rain, as you're aware. I actually heard from one of our police officers in Swift Current that the roads are so slippery that it's hard to even stand on the roads, let alone drive. We're anticipating that the freezing rain is going to switch to snow in the next few hours, and that's meaning that poor driving conditions are likely to continue into the evening and overnight hours. So we're asking everyone, if you don't need to be on the roads tonight, don't be. If you absolutely have to travel, check the highway hotline for the road conditions along your route before you head off. Dan Palmer from the Ministry of Highways is going to join us here shortly, and he can tell you a little bit more about that. If you're setting out, make sure your vehicle is full of gas. Make sure that you have a cell phone in your car, that it's charged, and you have a charger packed. While you're stocking your car, please have emergency supplies there, including food and water. And slow down. This isn't a time where you necessarily drive to the speed limit. You're driving to road conditions. And last is we're kind of anticipating that snow and potential wind coming tonight. If you're stranded on a highway or your vehicle comes to a stop, do not leave your car. This has been a really busy day for our police officers as well as our staff members. We've received some reports of people who have headed out on the highways and they're spinning because it's so slippery. Then they're calling 911 for help. If you abandon your vehicle, just know that we still have to check it. So keep in mind when you're heading out, if you get in a situation like that, our priority is always going to be responding to collisions and other urgent situations. It may take us a while to get to you for that kind of help. Our officers, keep in mind, are also navigating these poor road conditions as they're responding to calls for service in their police vehicles. We also remind the public that 911 is for emergencies only. It's not to check road conditions, and it's not to call and complain about a canceled flight, which is one of the calls that our OCC team received this morning. Lastly, we can't reiterate enough, if you don't have to be out on the roads tonight, please don't be if you're in an area that's affected by the weather. And lastly, always check the highway hotline before you set out today and any day this winter. I'll pass it on to Dan Palmer, who's joined us from the Ministry of the Highways, to add a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Keely. Yeah, so to reiterate what Keely's been saying, this has been quite a challenging day for weather. It's been a buffet of different types of weather, ranging from, freezing rain, snow farther north. If you just look at the highway hotline right now, we've got everything from roads closed. So to reiterate what she's saying is, please check the highway hotline before you head out. Make an informed decision before heading out. The right call, of course, beats a close call. If you do head out, check it again before you head back. We've just looked throughout the day. Weather has changed on a dime. It has changed throughout the day, which has been some very challenging conditions, not only for our teammates at the RCMP, but for our road crews who are out there, which you can see through track, diligently doing their best to work on the highways. But again, please check the highway hotline if you're making a decision before heading out and checking again. And if you are out there and you do come across one of my teammates out there in the snowplows, give them room, give them space, stay back. We want everyone to get home safely. No matter who is using the road, we want everyone to get home. So please give them some room. I think that's about it. Keely, I'll throw it back to you.
Awesome. I will actually take the lead here. We'll moderate some questions. And you know what? We're going to start with Keely Grasser. So if you have any questions for her right now, let's pass them over to her. I'll just get you to raise your hand if you have any. All right, Jeremy Warren, go ahead.
Yes. Hello. Just on that note about the 911 call about the canceled flight, what happens in that situation? Does that person face charges for wasting time or something like that? Or yeah, what happens in that situation?
That's a really good question, and I don't have the answer offhand. I'm sorry. It's something that I can look into for you further after if you'd like. I think the important thing for me to relay right now is just to reserve calling 911 for the utmost emergencies.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question from Nicole at CJME. Could you speak to how difficult the weather makes those emergency calls for officers?
Absolutely. So I'm not a police officer, in full disclosure. I'm a civilian employee, but we work shoulder to shoulder with police officers every day. You know how hard the roads have been to navigate today. They are navigating the exact same thing as you. So obviously they have to take care when conditions are treacherous, and they also face the challenge of they're responding to life and death situations sometimes. So they have to strike that balance of getting there fast, but getting there responsibly and being safe themselves.
Thank you. Stacy.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Stacy Hine with CTV News. Sorry, Keely, if you already mentioned this, but just of those 29 weather-related calls for service, has there been any fatalities or serious injuries out of those collisions at all?
I don't have all that information available to release just yet, Stacy. A lot of the officers are busy on the road. I just don't have those individual pieces of information about all those collisions. Once we're able to connect with our officers and report everything out, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. I see you're next. Ryan Lambert.
Hi there, yeah, Ryan Lambert, Battleford's Now division of Pattison Media. I just wanted to ask about just any extra resources that are available in terms of just an increased number of police out there or tow trucks. And then I just also wanted to ask about whether the calls you're getting have been people driving too fast or maybe just not being equipped with the right tires or anything, if you have that information.
Yeah, thank you. I wouldn't be able to speak to tow trucks. That's just outside of the realm of policing. In terms of resources, I don't have numbers on hand, but I know that speaking with our detachments throughout the day, it's all hands on deck. They're all out there responding to collisions and other weather-related conditions, as well as our regular calls for service as they come in. So just know that the whole Saskatchewan RCMP team is doing what they can to help those that are running into trouble due to this weather. In terms of the causes, like I said before, we don't have fulsome details for all of these weather-related incidents, so it would be premature for me to speculate on any cause for them.
Thank you.
Michael, I see your question here. Are we aware of any injuries as a result or connected to the inclement weather? Keely, maybe you can just reiterate kind of what you had mentioned before.
Yeah, of course. We're still waiting for details on many of these collisions. Keep in mind that our officers are out and they continue to respond to calls for service. So once we're able to connect with them and collect information, which will include injuries, we'll pass that along.
Awesome, thank you. Any further questions for Keely with regards to RCMP? Oh, we've got one more. So let me see the chat here. Excuse me, how does this compare to other storms? Normally we deal with snow, but in this case, we're dealing with freezing rain, and much of the province seems like a skating rink. Keely, can you speak to kind of what our officers seeing, the fog, the rain, the snow, etc.?
I'm just going to pop on the chat so that I can see all the elements of that question. I don't know that I can compare it to other storms just yet, Nicole. This one's still unfolding, and I think we've all seen the forecast. Like, there's a mixed bag of weather coming our way. Are we going to have snow that goes on top of the freezing rain tonight? Are we going to have those blizzard-like conditions? There's a lot left to unfold here, so I wouldn't want to speculate on it. But in speaking with the officers today, I do think that many of them are dealing with icy road conditions due to the freezing rain. And I know that we had reports from the Swift Current area fog. That was a couple hours ago. I don't know if it's still present, but that was certainly something that they were dealing with earlier this afternoon.
How does the number of incidents, 29 thus far, and remember some of those could even be duplicates that are reported, how does that compare to past weather events or kind of day-to-day? Is it on par, high, low for winter type weather?
That's another good question, and unfortunately one that I can't speculate on right now. Like I said, there's probably some duplicates mixed into that. For instance, we might get 2 or 3 calls to our OCC center about, an overturned semi or similar. So those wouldn't be final numbers, and I'd have to look into how this compares to some of our other significant snow events last year.
Thank you. And just for context, we've been messaging with some of our officers right now, and one just sent me a message, Highway 11 west of Lumsden. It's extremely icy with ice pellets, and we'll send that photo along to everybody as well. Basically, it's very icy, as Keely has said. We've got a question here, Keely. How long are the response times of officers in these emergencies, and how is the RCMP dealing with being inundated with calls?
So response times are a really difficult thing to, generalize because there's so many variables at play. It could be like where the call for service is in proximity to where the other officers are. It could be the urgency of the call, as well as other calls for service that are being received at that time. So I wouldn't be able to speculate. What I can say is that when someone's in urgent need of immediate, police service, we will be there. You asked about how we're dealing with being inundated with calls. I don't know the call numbers overall today, but what I can tell you is that we have a team of dedicated police officers that are out there, even in weather like today, that are responding to calls for service.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We're going to turn it over to Dan Palmer at the Ministry of Highways. Does anyone have any questions for Dan? I have one for you, Dan. Oh, I see Rachel's away, but very quickly, how often is the highway hotline updated for information?
In cases like this severe weather, it's updated as often as they can. I mean, we've got crews out there, so it's updated throughout the day. So it's your best source of the latest available road conditions.
Awesome. And I mean, this is just my curiosity. I know I'm supposed to moderate, but as also a member of the public, how do you get the information about the road conditions?
So the plow operators I mentioned who are out there treating the roads, the information's coming from them. And so they're treating that road, trying to get the highways passable for motorists. So that's as close as you're going to get to where the highway is, icy, and they're treating it. That's where it's coming from, direct from our operators out on, say, Trans-Canada Highway 1 or Highway 11 or wherever they may be. And then that goes to our highway hotline center, which I know some of the media have been to before, and it updates the hotline.
And maybe you don't have the numbers here, Dan, but approximately during a weather event like this, how many people do you get clicking on your highway hotline?
I don't have the number right in front of me, but last year was a record year. There's certainly an increase when we've got a major event such as this. So we'll tally at the end of the year to see what it will be, but I expect it will be significant today and throughout the duration of the storm. And that's a good thing. We want people to check that highway hotline before making a decision to head out. And if it's travel not recommended, if the road is closed, if you aren't comfortable with the road conditions, if you look at the camera and say I'm staying home, that's probably a good choice. Stay home and wait for the weather to clear. Snowplow operators will have time to clear the roads, and if you can stay home, do it.
That's great. Before I turn it back over to Keely for another question, maybe you can tell us what your road operators, the people operating the plows, what are they reporting right now across Saskatchewan? What are they saying?
So it's if the highway hotline was a Christmas tree right now, it is a lot of different colors. If I'm just looking right now in real time, and this is as of 3:20 p.m., and this will certainly change throughout the day. We've got, bare wet dry near Maple Creek, but then it goes to partly covered. We've got roads closed. We've got travel not recommended as we head east. We go farther north, and again, same situation. So it is like I said, a buffet of weather and a buffet of weather conditions out there. So like we keep saying over and over again, please check the hotline before you head out. Make an informed decision.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I'll highlight Keely here again for everybody. We've got one more question here. We've got from Ryan Lambert. Along with staying in their car, what else should people do if they run into a situation and have to call for help? I'm assuming while out on the road, Keely.
That's a really important one, and it's one that I really like to emphasize when we're dealing with the potential of significant snow as well as blowing snow, particularly in the south and central where we have the flat terrain. So like I said earlier, stay with your vehicle. Don't leave it. Staying with your vehicle is always your best bet, and it's going to help officers find you when you call for help. If you're in your vehicle and you're stranded, make sure that you stay warm. If you packed those emergency supplies, like I referenced earlier, in your car, put on extra warm clothes, use a blanket, turn on your car periodically, but be mindful that you want to conserve gas, right? But turn it on so that you stay warm enough. Another really important thing, if you are in a situation where you're on the highway and it's really snowy, is making sure that you're opening your windows every so often so you get fresh air in your vehicle as well. And I know I said don't leave your vehicle, but it is a good idea to make sure that your tailpipe isn't getting clogged with snow. So periodically checking that and then making sure you get back into your vehicle and get warm. If you're running into a problem that you need police assistance because of a weather-related event in a non-emergency situation, please call 310 RCMP. And as always, in any emergency situation, call 911.
Thanks, Keely. We're going to turn it back to Dan here. Give me 1 second, Dan. I'm just making these bigger for our TV folks, so you've got a bigger screen. Dan, as weather continues to change, is there any estimate for how long until highways would be in a safe condition to be on again?
That's a difficult question. You know, if you can predict what the weather's going to be out there and how long the duration of the storm is going to be, those are all contributing factors. But rest assured, crews are out there before, during, and after storms to do their best to clear highways, treat ice. And of course, if it's not safe, when we close the road down, we close it down because it's just simply not safe for folks to do it, and our operators it may not be safe for them to go as well. But yeah, it's a challenging question to answer because it just depends on the weather conditions, the part of the province we're in. Keep in mind, Saskatchewan has, you know, the largest per capita highways in all of Canada, and there's a fleet of 300 snowplow operators, fleet of 300 pieces of equipment out there, and the weather is so different across the province. So it just depends where you are and the conditions at the time.
Awesome. I think that wraps things up for questions that I've received so far. If you have any questions, please just send them into our SK Media mailbox or through to Dan at the Highways. Thank you everyone for participating, and you stay safe out there too, because we know you're out there covering these stories. So stay safe, and thanks very much everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.